Picture this. It's a sunny afternoon in 1974. A young woman is walking across a college campus when she notices a handsome man struggling with books and a cast on his arm. He smiles at her, polite and seemingly harmless. She stops to help him carry his books to his car. She never makes it home that night. This wasn't just bad luck. This was Ted Bundy's hunting ground. And that smile, it was the last thing at least 30 young women ever saw. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most chilling cases in American criminal history. A man so charming that even during his murder trial, women sent him love letters. A man so dangerous that he escaped from custody not once, but twice. This is the true story of Ted Bundy, the charming monster. Theodore Robert Bundy was born on November 24, 1946 in Burlington, Vermont. His early life was built on a lie. For years, young Ted believed his grandparents were his parents and that his mother was actually his older sister. When he discovered the truth about his illegitimate birth, something inside him changed. Friends and family would later say this was when the mask began to form. But let's fast forward to 1974. By this time, Bundy was a law student in Seattle, handsome, articulate, and politically active. He volunteered at a suicide crisis hotline. He had a girlfriend. To everyone around him, Ted Bundy was the perfect young American man with a bright future ahead.
But behind closed doors, a monster was awakening. January 4th, 1974. That's when it started. Or at least, that's when we know it started. 18-year-old Karen Sparks was asleep in her basement apartment when Bundy broke in. He beat her savagely with a metal rod from her bed frame and sexually assaulted her with it. She survived but remained in a coma for weeks with permanent brain damage. 1 month later, Linda Ann Healy, a 21-year-old college student, disappeared from her bedroom. Her bed was covered in blood, but her body was gone. Then, Donna Gail Manson vanished in March. Susan Rancourt in April. Roberta Parks and Brenda Ball in May. Georgianne Hawkins in June. 6 young women, 6 months, all from the Seattle area. And police had almost nothing to go on except witness reports of a handsome young man with his arm in a sling asking for help. Ted Bundy had perfected the art of deception. His weapon wasn't just physical violence, it was trust. He understood something fundamental about human nature. People want to help. His most common tactic was brilliant in its simplicity. He'd approach young women in public places, parks, college campuses, shopping centers, pretending to be injured. Sometimes he wore a fake cast. Sometimes he used crutches. He'd drop books or struggle to carry something to his car. The moment a compassionate young woman stopped to help, she was in his trap. Once he had his victim isolated near his vehicle, usually a tan Volkswagen Beetle, Bundy would strike. He'd knock them unconscious, handcuff them, and drive them to a pre-selected secondary location. What happened next in those remote areas was so horrific that even seasoned detectives struggled to process the crime scenes. Bundy would rape his victims, murder them through strangulation or bludgeoning, and then often return to the bodies multiple times to apply makeup and perform sexual acts with the corpses. Some bodies were decapitated, some were never found at all. July 14, 1974 marked one of Bundy's boldest moves. At Lake Sammamish State Park in Washington, in broad daylight with thousands of witnesses around, he approached multiple women using the name Ted. He asked them to help him load a sailboat onto his car. Most refused. 2 didn't, Janice Ott and Denise Nuzlet. Both women vanished that day. Their remains were discovered months later in a remote area. This was the break police needed. Multiple witnesses described a man named Ted with his arm in a sling driving a Volkswagen Beetle. The police released a composite sketch and the name. Ted Bundy's girlfriend, along with others who knew him, called in tips.
But incredibly, police didn't consider him a serious suspect. He was too educated, too well-spoken, too normal. By fall of 1974, Bundy had moved to Utah to attend law school. The disappearances in Washington slowed down, but in Utah, young women started vanishing again. Between October 1974 and August 1975, at least 5 women disappeared or were murdered in Utah and Colorado. Melissa Smith, Laura Aim, Deborah Kent, Corinne Campbell, and others. The pattern was the same: young, attractive women with long hair parted in the middle, all resembling Bundy's ex-girlfriend who had broken his heart years earlier. But Ted Bundy was about to make his first critical mistake. August 16, 1975, a Utah Highway Patrol officer noticed a Volkswagen Beetle driving suspiciously through a residential neighborhood at 2:30 a.m. with its headlights off. When the officer tried to pull the car over, it sped away. After a brief chase, the driver pulled over. It was Ted Bundy. The officer searched the vehicle and found items that immediately raised red flags: a ski mask, a crowbar, handcuffs, trash bags, rope, and an ice pick. Bundy claimed they were just items he'd found in a dumpster. He was arrested for evading police and possession of burglary tools. Detectives began connecting the dots. The Volkswagen Beetle matched witness descriptions. Bundy's appearance matched the composite sketch from Lake Sammamish. They showed his photo to Carol Duranch, a woman who had survived an attempted kidnapping months earlier when a man claiming to be a police officer tried to handcuff her. She identified Bundy immediately. In February 1976, Ted Bundy was convicted of aggravated kidnapping and assault. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. But investigators in Colorado wanted him for murder. In 1977, he was extradited to Colorado to face murder charges and the death of Karen Campbell. This is where Bundy's arrogance reached new heights. Representing himself in court, he was granted permission to visit the courthouse law library. On June 7, 1977, during a court recess, Bundy jumped from a second-story window and escaped. He was recaptured 8 days later, but he wasn't done. December 30th, 1977. Bundy escaped again, this time sawing through the ceiling of his cell and crawling through the ductwork. By the time guards discovered he was missing, Bundy had a 15-hour head start. He made it to Chicago, then to Florida. Free and undetected, Ted Bundy should have disappeared forever. Instead, he unleashed his most savage attack yet. January 15, 1978, at approximately 3 a.m., Bundy broke into the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University. In less than 15 minutes, he attacked 4 women with a piece of oak firewood. 2 of them, Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy, were murdered. Both were sexually assaulted and beaten beyond recognition. 2 others, Kathy Kleiner and Karen Chandler, survived with severe injuries. That same night, just blocks away, Bundy broke into another apartment and attacked Cheryl Thomas, fracturing her skull and dislocating her shoulder. She survived but suffered permanent hearing loss. 3 weeks later, on February 9th, Bundy abducted 12-year-old Kimberly Leach from her school in Lake City, Florida. Her body was found 8 weeks later in an abandoned hog shed. She had been sexually assaulted and murdered. But Bundy's luck had finally run out. On February 15, 1978, a police officer in Pensacola ran the plates on a stolen Volkswagen Beetle and pulled it over. The driver initially gave a fake name, but when the officer radioed in, he discovered the car was stolen. The driver tried to fight, but the officer subdued him. The man in custody was Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy's trials became a media sensation. He represented himself, cross-examining witnesses and delivering opening statements. The courtroom was packed daily, mostly with young women who couldn't believe this articulate, handsome man could be a killer. Some sent him love letters. One, Carol Ann Boone, a former coworker, married him during the trial by exploiting an obscure Florida law. But the evidence was overwhelming. Bite marks on Lisa Levy's body matched Bundy's teeth perfectly, one of the first cases where bite mark evidence led to a conviction. Eyewitnesses placed him at the Chi Omega house. Fibers from the victims matched those in his car. On July 24, 1979, Ted Bundy was found guilty of the Chi Omega murders and sentenced to death. He was later convicted of murdering Kimberly Leach and received another death sentence. For 10 years, Bundy exhausted every appeal, maintaining his innocence while becoming a celebrity inmate. He gave interviews, consulted on other serial killer cases, and manipulated the media. But as his execution date approached, he finally started confessing. In the days before his execution, Bundy confessed to 30 homicides committed in 7 states between 1974 and 1978. Investigators believe the actual number could be much higher, possibly over 100 victims. On January 24, 1989, at 7:16 a.m., Ted Bundy was executed in the electric chair at Florida State Prison. Outside, crowds cheered and set off fireworks. His final words were to his lawyer, "Jim and Fred, I'd like you to give my love to my family and friends." Ted Bundy shattered the myth of what a serial killer looks like. He proved that monsters don't always hide in shadows. Sometimes they smile at you in broad daylight, ask for help, and seem like the boy next door. The families of his victims still live with the pain of their losses. Many bodies were never recovered. Many questions remain unanswered. But Bundy's case changed how law enforcement investigates serial crimes, leading to better communication between jurisdictions and the development of criminal profiling. The charming monster is gone, but his legacy remains, a chilling reminder that evil doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just asks for help carrying books to a car. If you found this case fascinating and want to see more deep dives into criminal history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below telling me which case you'd like me to cover next. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.